Yay!
Yay! Happy Monday, Journeyers!
Happy Monday, Journeyers. How is everybody this Monday? I assume great.
I assume we're all still recovering from eating so much
Yes.
turkey.
Yeah,
And
turkey and Thanksgiving stuff, doing things that are together. We've talked about playfulness as it was leading up to Thanksgiving. And I think some of what we were saying had to do with like getting ready for gathering, right? Like how to find the play in when we're gathering with people and just in general. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it's not going well. Like, where do we find the play? And I was wondering if we could talk as we come away from that, and we're still into it because we still have holiday time, when you don't feel like playing. And specifically, I had hi everybody. I had said,
I see Sunny in the chat. Hi, Sunny.
Oh, thanks, Sunny. The idea that we don't always have the capacity to play, and talk about like what are some low barriers to entry to like get ourselves back there, you know?
Listen, let's talk about not having capacity to like do anything. World, I am 30 weeks. I'm officially 30 weeks in my pregnancy. I am a giant balloon person. And I am tired. I am a lot of baby and I am tired. And I feel like it's hard. I feel like there is a lot of difficulty for me right now to like have fun and play. I think part of that involves your support system. You know, my spouse has been incredible when I'm like a blob on the couch and he'll come and he'll just like say something silly or goofy. Or I'm like, I'm so sorry that I'm a blob. And he's like, it's cool. You're growing a human. And I think that's important, is recognizing the supports in your life. And if you are someone else's support, finding a little bit of playful joy and humor in what's going on. I think it's hard to do it yourself.
It is hard to do it yourself. You know, and that's the big thing about our just in general theme, which is, yes, we are talking about playfulness this month, but we're talking about community in general for the entire year. And that's the reason that we do improv, right, is because it's based in community. We love improv because we're learning how to do these things in community, how to find playfulness even when we're not feeling playful in other people. I think that's a big one. As far as being on stage, because that's what we talk about, as far as being on stage, we don't always have to be like loud, extravagant characters. We can be nice and grounded, and other people can find the play in whatever that scene is going to be. And I think that, I'm coming to something here. I think that our job in those moments is not necessarily to match that person's extravagance or energy. It is to accept it, or to at least be open to it, and to find what in that energy fulfills us. Like, what can we lean into? So like you're saying, your community can have fun with you, and you don't have to like, fine, I'll raise my energy up to be fun and playful. You don't have to do that, but you can be open to, okay, you're telling jokes, cool, and just be affected.
Yeah.
Just be open and affected. Yep.
Yeah, and as the flip side, the members of the community being able to be like, I also have to recognize that this person can't be on all the time. Yes,
Right.
thank you, Sunny. We are. We all long like we need our community,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We are genuinely have evolved as humans to need each other.
Yeah.
And this is one of those examples of it. And to get through some crappy times. Uh, and I think it's okay. And I think it's very important to be on the other side to recognize when someone doesn't want to be on or isn't able to be on or isn't able
Mhm.
to match your energy level and
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And on both sides, you're talking about it's okay for someone not to match your energy level. And in that space, it's okay to keep your energy level.
Mhm,
Right? Like,
mhm.
depending on what, the scenario is, it's okay to lean into yourself, whatever that energy is, because it may be that that's what that person needs. I know that, you know, I know that I have been in situations with my friends where their energy level, for whatever reason, is very low, but the reason that I'm there or the reason that they're asking me to be in their life at that moment is because they know that my energy level is going to be higher than that, that I'm either going to bring an optimistic view or an alternative view or just plain fun or, but specifically they're asking me to be fully myself while they are fully themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that friend that you're like, "Man, I'm having a bad day, so I need to go sit with this person." I have a friend, shout out to my friend Lauren, who is 1,000% when I am in some kind of mood, I'm like, this girl's gonna cheer me up
Mhm.
because she's gonna not only be cheerful, but probably have fresh baked cookies or cocoa and a cat or two for me. So I think those friendship dynamics are so important, and recognizing that in your community is amazing.
Yes. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about leaning into reality. So
Mhm.
when yes, when we are talking about leaning specifically the absurdness of reality, right? So when we are talking on stage, when we've brought something to the stage like a giant flying cow. Great. This is what's in my head. It's a giant flying cow. So when we that giant flying cow is in itself in existence, right? We are treating it like it's real. And we don't necessarily have to give it like, holy no, like holy crap, a giant flying cow. It's like that. Like this is the energy I have to put in. Um, we can just accept like, oh, Denise, yeah, she was born with wings and we really, really love her. You know, she takes us places. Why am I saying this? Because in my head, I am thinking about the absurdity of things that we go through, the absurdity of death, sudden death, right? Like it feels so that a loss that is sudden can feel very absurd and it can feel like society is asking us to act or to bring our energy level up to a certain type of reaction. And sometimes people don't have those types of reactions, right? They're this is how we're doing, this is our energy level, and it's okay for others to realize that they are responding to the absurdity of the reality in that way. You can
Yeah.
respond any way you want, but it's all right to breathe through something. It's okay because man, and then the second part of that, because we are talking about playfulness, of course, in an improv scene where there is a giant flying cow, we're playing with that. Like, how do we interact with that giant flying cow? And sometimes interacting like, yeah, Denise, she takes us places, she's cool, is going to be a lot funnier and a lot more playful than the giant reaction. And it's the same thing off stage. Like, you can still find the playfulness in being in committing to the reality. That's
Yeah.
it. And just committing to the reality. There might be some playfulness there, some joy in just actually leaning into like, okay, I'm pregnant. My
Yeah.
body is changing. I like, whereas people are like, aren't you excited all the time about being pregnant? The miracle of birth. And well,
I don't understand those people. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't think they exist. I don't think so.
but
But
there's,
you're right in terms of like if we just if we deny the existence of like a big life event or a big additional thing, that cuts us off to life in so many ways, you know what I mean? And when we talk about acceptance and we talk about yes and in an improv sense and also in a life sense, acceptance isn't the same as like enthusiastic
right.
excitement, right? Acceptance is like what you said, like, oh yeah, it's Denise. Um, you know, having having a life-changing event happen, whether it's a potentially cool thing like pregnancy, or if that's devastating for you, right?
Right. Right.
Um, or things like loss and grieving. Um, Obviously, there are some things that we're not like, woohoo, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if we pretended like it didn't happen, then we can't move on and move forward with our lives, right? Um, which sucks, which
Mm-hmm.
is a sucky place to be.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think you're right that finding like the little absurdities um, can be fun. The little oddities about your new normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, yeah, I have a particularly like lean into that kind of sense of humor, and so I'm thinking about like one of the major grief events that I went through, and like I'm like in mixed company. I probably shouldn't share those jokes, but like uh, would make plenty of jokes internally with like our closest group of friends, and
Mm-hmm.
um, leaning into the situation where in a way that was, reminding us that there's still a little bit of like joy and fun in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
And we were talking, I believe it was you and I, it could have been me and Luke, but when we're using the when we're using the word playfulness, we're not always talking about jokes and like laughing, and we're not always talking about that. We're It feels like we're mostly talking about leaning in and exploring certain things. Even when
yeah,
children like are playing, we call it play because they're kids, but what they're really doing is exploring, right? I'm thinking of
yes,
children sitting with blocks or even, playing with cars. But what's happening is they have a thing in their hand and they're exploring all the different ways that they can look at, use, and move this thing through space. And
yeah,
if we think about play in that sense, then when we're talking about the things that you're talking about, big life events, moving through big life events, um, and leading into the reality, we're not necessarily about talking about making jokes about that big life event. We're just talking about, okay, well, how can what I have this thing, this flying cow, this loss, this marriage, this life event in my hand that's
mhm,
either bring that's bringing me some sort of emotion. What are
yeah,
the different types of ways I can look at this,
yeah,
right? Move it through move it through space, move it through my body, move it through my mind, just to see how a different way I can reflect upon it.
yeah. Which is like a mini, honestly, a mini version of what we've been talking about all month in terms of when we talk about play as kind of like fussing with rules and boundaries, right? Um,
Yes.
that when you're exploring or playing or toying with an idea or a concept, that you're also kind of like exploring and pushing boundaries there,
Yeah.
right? Um, yes.
Yeah. No, it's like I just love it. The you said exploring and pushing boundaries. I this idea of pushing boundaries, ah, you know I love it. You know I love it because on stage, what we're practicing is we are practicing pushing boundaries. We're practicing being aware of the rules that are put upon us or that we have set for ourselves that aren't there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're talking about just pushing boundaries in life, I I've been really aware personally or trying to become more aware of like, man, what what is it that I do or am doing in any moment that I don't necessarily have to be doing? And I will forever. Gus says, don't listen, I'm saying it first. Don't take my book title. Never stand in lines. That is my book title. Never stand in lines. Because I'm telling you, we're so focused on like, oh, here's a line. I'm doing a thing. I'm near the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Here's a line. I'm sure the line is exactly for whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm telling you, don't don't
I feel
stand
like
in
we
line.
need a disclaimer that's like, don't always take that literally if you're at Disney or somewhere where they will kick you out if you.
Someone, if you try to cut in line. I'm not saying cut in line. What I'm saying is don't randomly just be like, assume, right, that this is the line for the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Because oftentimes we stand in line, and we're using standing in line as a metaphor, but
Yeah.
we stand in line. We don't know what that line is for, and we're just standing there. And then, how often have you gotten to the front of some sort of line and been like, I'm here for the thing, and they're like, oh, that's that line over there, and you're like, but I stood in
No,
this line.
I did the thing. I followed the rules. I followed society's expectations. Why? Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think therein lies your metaphor of like you can follow the rules that you think are in place, and you can do all the things that you think are right, and it can still turn out to have the different uh, a different kind of consequence. Yes, pay attention, Sonny. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
pay attention. And that pay attention is for the outside world, right? Like pay attention to where you're going, pay attention to what's happening around you, but also pay attention to what's happening inside you, right? What emotion is coming up that always comes up when you're in this situation? Okay, now that you know that it always comes up when you're in this situation, is it an emotion that you need to have? Is it serving you? Like, is it serving you? Is it not serving you? What are five more emotions or reactions that you could have to this particular situation that could serve you? And
Yeah.
that turning stuff around like that, paying attention to what's happening outside and inside, that is play. That's what we're
Mhm.
talking about. That's playing. That's
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, especially when you're manipulating it in that way to be like, I
Mhm.
wonder what it would be like if I responded this way this
I
time.
wonder. Yeah.
Anytime we're
The
like, I wonder
yeah.
is
I'm
is
about to
playful.
start teaching. Hey, say that last part again.
I think
It
anytime we say like I wonder is playful.
is playful. Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to start teaching a class called Improv for Design. And I'm very excited. Oh, I'm telling the world, I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, Sunny, I'm telling you, Emily. No one else knows. Shh, keep it quiet.
I would like for more people to know so we can have more views on this video, but that's fine.
It's true. I'll start telling people. But I'm teaching this class, Improv for Design, at UT. And one of the things I am anticipating talking about is how when we are, you said, turning things around is playful, thinking about
Saying
making a
I
different.
wonder.
I wonder. I wonder. I wonder is so big in design for anything, right? I feel like design is nothing but play, right? Like, how can we design a thing? What are some fun ways we can design a thing that is going to help whoever do whatever. It's why we have ramped sidewalks, right? It's why we have very wide doors. It's why we have anything. It's
Mhm.
pencils that are shaped in different ways, pencils that don't roll. Have you ever noticed some pencils roll and some pencils don't? You see? But the
You mean
idea
like the
is,
ones that have like the little like catch thing or
no, the ones that, there's pencils that are, I wish I had one right now, but if you look at the pencil, it has edges. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah,
And
it's
so
like
it
a
doesn't
hexagon, yeah.
roll. Yeah,
Oh.
so it doesn't roll off your desk. These are important design aspects. But
Mhm.
but all going back to, I wonder how I can play with this concept of a pencil such that it fits someone who's not me, right?
Mhm.
And then we take that and we just like keep going. Oh, I wonder how I can be on this stage, how I can elaborate in this scene to make my point stand out. Oh, I'm thinking of so many things about how to do that. I wonder. But going all the way back to what this particular episode is about, the wondering about if you are not in a space of play,
Yeah.
right? If you are not in a space of play, like just even what is the barrier to entry? Like what small step can you take to get into the play? I would I would vote use Emily's I wonder.
Yeah.
Just I wonder.
Just a little
Where
I
am I
wonder.
right now? Yeah.
Just a little thought, you know? Um, even if so, and we said in the beginning that like a lot of it has to do with your community helping you out. But if
Mm.
you're like physically by yourself, you can do a little bit of like, I wonder, I wonder what.
I wonder what. And you can fill that the end of that sentence with anything if you're not in a space of playfulness. Like I wonder what I could do right now to make me feel blank, whatever it is. I wonder where my telephone is. Or whatever. I wonder about the world, and this will start, it'll just start getting your brain nice and juicy to move you to wonderment, into exploration.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is and I like that you're saying like the moving into because it keeps us from being stuck in
Yeah.
whatever situation we're in, right? I said earlier on that some of these playfulness concepts help us move on from like big life events. Um, and so similarly, even like a small inconvenient life event, right? I'm laying in bed and my like sciatic nerve hurts, and I'm like, if I could just be like, it hurts and I don't know, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
sit here. Or I could be like, I wonder if a heating pad would help me
Right. Yeah. I
and
wonder.
be able, yeah, I wonder if my spouse is close to the microwave and can give me my heating pad. So like, and in that way, we're able to move forward from the situation we find ourselves in and not be
Yeah.
trapped within it.
Yeah. I have been in the practice just in the last month or so of asking myself sort of a similar question, which is I wonder, but a similar question is what what do I always do? That that's my
Mm.
question that I've been asking myself. Like, because we live our lives and we don't run across a ton of things that are completely flabbergasting. Like, I've
Yes,
never seen that before,
right.
Most of the situations that we encounter, somehow we have encountered them before. And I've been in this space where I'm like, oh, what do I always do here? Because I I wonder what it looks like to do something different. And usually we I, I'll speak for myself. Usually uh when I get to that space, like I wonder what I always do. There's usually a something else that you also always do when you have that thought. You're like,
Uh-huh.
this time I won't do that. I'll do this, but it's like a default other thing. I'm trying to think of anything that I can use as like concrete. Um, like dishes. You and I like to talk about dishes all the
Yes.
time, right? All the time. So I'll come to the sink. There'll be dishes, dirty dishes in the sink, and there'll be dishes in the what do you call it? The dishwasher. It's like,
Mhm.
wow. And the first thought I'll have is, why can't just the dishwasher just be empty? And then I'll think, what if we have another thought? Another thought. And then the default thought is something like, I should just be better. I should be better at putting the dishes away in the dishwasher. And then I'm like, wait, now I'm in a space. I'm like, okay, what's a completely different thought that I could have? Just completely different. And one of them is, I'm glad we have dishes. Period.
Yeah.
Another one is, hey, why are the dishes in the dishwasher? Oh, because we had that cool party. And then I can reflect on the cool party that we had. Or you know what? I don't even really want to do dishes. I can walk away and get a coloring book. But the the what are the thousands of other choices I can have? With the game would be new choice if we're talking about on the stage.
Yeah. What's
Right?
something else that I can say to myself in that moment?
Yeah.
And especially to get me out of that moment, right? Because if you're just like, I should have done this, does not is not an active thought or statement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love what you're talking about as far as or what we're talking about as far as moving through and not being stuck.
Mhm.
Because when we're doing those things, when we're having those like self talks, we're also in a space that we are that we're just sticking. Yeah, this is a good one too. Thank God
Yeah.
we have food, right? Yeah. Like these are great these I would say I was going to say these are great tools to use. They're just some tools. They're just some tools to find ourselves in a space where thank you. Bye. I'm sorry. Bye, Sunny. To find ourselves in a space where we're exploring where we are. That's it.
Yeah.
Where we're exploring where we are and what the other options of being in any situation could be.
Yeah. Right. Perfect. Beautifully put. Let's speaking of moving forward.
Oh, we have to move forward, y'all.
Speaking of, and I also think this conversation is a great transition into next month. We are wrapping up our playfulness month. Next
We
month is going to be
are
creativity. So,
creativity.
which is a great segue when we're talking about like pushing boundaries and exploring. We're going to be talking a little bit more about like how we do that noise. But before we end the month, we have a very cool thing happening on Wednesday, right,
We
Shannon?
do. We do. We have our Discord chat. It's going to be amazing. You should join us on Discord. Check out our Instagram, Facebook, all of that for information. But what we're going to do is we're just going to answer questions, talk a little bit about the theme, give you some tips if you want them about how to incorporate the theme of the month, which is playfulness, into your life and into your onstage play. You can, I mean, Emily is fantastic. Emily is,
You're
yes,
fantastic.
sure. Also science though. Science, we can really get into like the nitty-gritty of things on the theme, and we can both help with on stage and off stage stuff. But we would
Mhm.
love just to hang out with you and know what you want to see, what topics you want us to talk about, how you want us to talk about those topics. Yeah, we're just hanging out with journeyers. That's what we're doing on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
That's the time. Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited to get into Creativity Month and wrap up our 2022. It's been a great year.
Absolutely. It's been an excellent year. Okay, friends, if you haven't seen our show, check us out
Go
on
do it.
it's like where are you? You know, where are you? But come to come to YouTube, come to onandoffthestage.com. Check us out. Hang out with us. We're building community all year and for the rest of our lives, both on and
off the stage. Bye.
bye.